Army splashy. Jungkook was caught staring at Jimin as if he was keeping a big secret. That night, the world seemed to stop spinning for a moment for the army. A brief, almost accidental, moment was captured by cameras during BTS's debut anniversary event that took place behind closed doors but was recorded for upcoming documentary content. In the many smiles, laughs, and jokes typical of the members, there is one camera highlight that is now viral throughout the platform. Jungkook's gaze to Jimin made millions of hearts transfixed, confused, and curious. It all started with a simple scene. The members sit in a circle, talking about memories of all those years together. Jimin was speaking, his eyes shining with warmth as he recalled the difficult times at the beginning of his debut. He told how in the past he often felt not good enough, not strong enough, and often pretended to smile even though his heart was broken, and that's when the camera accidentally caught Jungkook. He's not laughing. Nor does it show the usual expression as when listening to his partner tell a story. He looked at Jimin in a different way, a look that holds so many layers of emotion. There is pride, there is sadness, but the most pronounced is longing and something unspoken. His gaze was so deep, it was as if he was hiding a great secret that he could not share with the world. Fans who saw the clip reacted immediately. "It was not an ordinary look," wrote one of the accounts on X, formerly Twitter. "That gaze is like someone who harbored a feeling for a long time but couldn't express it." Army communities from various countries began to dissect the moment frame by frame, looking for cues or other signs that might give further clues. Even micro-expression analysts who are commonly used to read body language come to the discussion and call that Jungkook's gaze contains a level of emotion that usually only appears in moments of personal intimacy. Some fans believe that Jungkook harbors deep feelings for Jimin, but are hindered by the situation, culture, and world they find themselves in, a world that demands image, not honesty of heart. Others believe that the moment may be part of a deeper dynamic, an emotional connection that cannot be defined simply by the word friendship. Interestingly, Jimin seemed to be aware of that gaze. In the next footage, he briefly glances at Jungkook, smiling slightly, a smile that is not for the camera, not for the audience, but as if only for one person. A smile that contains understanding, acceptance, and perhaps the silent answer of the secret they shared. An Army senior from Korea wrote, "I've been following them since 2013. I know the way Jimin smiles at the other members and the way he smiles at Jungkook. That's two different things." As if not to prolong the uproar, the agency did not give an official statement about the video. But their decision not to remove or censor the passage in the documentary footage actually strengthened the confidence of many fans. Whatever happens, it's part of their story. A story that may never be fully told in words, but can always be felt from the way they look at each other. It's moments like these that make Jungkook's story more than just speculation or fan imagination. It's a silent narrative that continues to grow behind camera lenses, among the glare of stage lights, and in the hearts of fans who see more than what it seems. Jungkook's gaze travels through time. Jimin's smile answered silently. And one world that fell silent realized there are more stories behind the silence of love. The gaze didn't last more than 2 seconds, but its meaning echoed much longer. After the documentary footage went viral, discussion after discussion did not subside. The Army, both those who have followed BTS since the early era and those who only got to know them later, realized the same thing. There was something between Jimin and Jungkook that was undeniable. And this time, it's not just fan speculation. A few days later, a fan-taken video emerged of rehearsals leading up to the last concert before enlistment. There, Jimin and Jungkook rehearsed choreography together. Sweat washed over their faces, but there was a tired smile that never really went away from both of them. At one part of the exercise, they should look at each other to harmonize the movements. And when that moment came, Jungkook seemed to stop a little. Just a moment, but enough to make Jimin bite his lower lip and look down as if he wanted to hide something. "He's dodging," one soldier commented in the video. Jimin averted his gaze, as if he stared back too long, something would break. Naturally, no one knew what was really going on in their hearts. But these patterns, unusual expressions, and increasingly layered interactions make fans realize that there's a much deeper emotional dynamic than what's shown on the surface. One day, in a closed-door interview conducted before enlistment, each member was asked to write a secret letter to the other members, which would not be opened until they all returned from the military. This is part of a long-term documentary project that will be aired after their return. However, one letter was leaked to the public. Not the content, but Jungkook's expression when writing it. He looked so serious, rarely wrote, often stopped and looked out the window. The camera recorded how he sighed deeply before continuing. Then, when he finished writing, he hugged the paper for a while before handing it over. "If you look closely," wrote one of Jungkook's fanbase admins, Jungkook's hands trembled a little when he wrote. And he wrote with his left hand, not his right hand as usual. That means he wrote with his heart. Shortly after, Jimin also made a short live broadcast, one of the last, before his official departure. He greeted fans warmly, laughed, and shared small stories. But towards the end of the broadcast, while unconsciously being viewed, Jimin muttered softly while staring at the screen, "Guan Jue, Jal Genestian Geology." Korean fans immediately translate, "That sweet boy. Hope he's okay." They know to whom the sentence is addressed. Something has changed since the moment the gaze went viral. It's not just the way fans view Jungkook's relationship, but also how the members seem to be more careful in behaving. But there is one thing that has not changed: togetherness that remains solid. Even when the cameras aren't on and there's no fan service to show, they still sit side by side, keep chatting in whispers, keep laughing at jokes that only the two of them understand. Interestingly, in one of the group interviews conducted on the eve of leaving the army, the members were asked to choose the one person they would most like to see again after leaving later. Jungkook did not hesitate to answer, Jimin Hyung. And when asked why, he just smiled while looking down. "Because he knows too many things about me." The answer shook the army. Not because of his romance, but because of his honesty. Then came the day of departure for the military. Jungkook left first, accompanied by several staff and escort officers. But many noticed that Jimin, although not yet scheduled to enter, seemed to be in the distance. Not approaching, not deliver directly. But a cameraman from a Japanese media outlet captured a figure in a black cap and mask standing behind a black car parked far from the gate of the headquarters, and as Jungkook boarded the military vehicle, the man lowered his head and wiped something off his cheek. Jimin, army immediately excited after the picture was spread. He came quietly, just to see Jungkook off. One Japanese fan wrote excitedly, "There was something in that silence that was stronger than 1,000 parting words." Now, they are in two different locations, serving the military under pressure and harsh discipline. But Korean newspapers said that the two still regularly send letters. Not through social media, not by email, but by hand, a physical letter. Personal. Secret. One unnamed military staffer told a magazine, "There was one soldier who every night read a letter in the same light blue envelope and always wrote a reply in black ink. She never said who it was from, but every time she finished writing, she looked much calmer." Many believe it was Jungkook, and that light blue envelope is Jimin's signature style, like when he was a trainee, writing letters to himself as a form of therapy. The army is waiting. No more waiting for confession, but waiting for the continuation of this story. Because they know not all love has to be announced to the world. Some love is stronger when it is kept, protected, and lived in silence. Jungkook's gaze was probably a silent confession. And Jimin's smile when he replied, perhaps the answer to an unspoken promise. But the world has seen it. And the world will never forget it, because in a world full of noise, one honest look can change everything.